Good evening. I'm Bob Davidson, co-founder of the Davidson Institute, a nonprofit organization dedicated to recognizing, nurturing, and supporting profoundly gifted young people. Welcome to the second annual Davidson Fellows Award ceremony and, as you know, reception. It's particularly fitting that this event is held here in the largest library in the world, where there's a great deal of accumulated knowledge and accomplishment. The same is true with the collection of young people we have tonight, which we call our fellows. I'd like to thank you all for being here tonight to celebrate this 2002 Davidson Fellows Award, the recipients, and help us recognize the extraordinary achievements of these exceptional young people. I'd also like to thank our two co-sponsors, which were, because of commitments in the Senate, were unable to be here this evening. But for the second year in a row, one of our sponsors was Senator Chuck Grassley from Iowa, who is a big supporter of gifted education, and also Senator Harry Reid from our home state of Nevada. So for anybody from their offices or whatever, thanks a lot for that co-sponsorship. There are some other important people that perhaps are here or are wandering around, but I'll just mention some of the folks who intended to be here tonight, and I hope they are, but I can't pick them out in the large crowd necessarily. Among those would be Congressman Vernon Ehlers from Michigan, Congressman Vic Snyder from Arkansas, Dr. Eric Andel, Senior Advisor to Secretary of Education, U.S. Department of Education, Dr. William Hanson, Deputy Secretary, U.S. Department of Education. A lot of doctors here. Dr. Wilbert Bryant, Deputy Assistant Secretary, U.S. Department of Education. Another Dr. Grover Whitehurst, Assistant Secretary, U.S. Department of Education. If anybody needs some educating, I guess this would be the place to be tonight. I know this lady was here, the President of the Board of D.C. Public Schools, whom we met with earlier today, Mrs. Peggy Cooper-Kafritz. I know Dr. Julian Stanley was here because I was chatting with him. He was the founder for the Center of Talented Youth at Johns Hopkins, which is a famous institution. And last but not least, we have two of our last year's fellows here tonight, Joshua Feldman and Chintan Hussain. And we've had a lot of fun with them over the last year. Now for the main event of the evening, I'm going to ask my wife and co-founder and harder worker of the Institute to join me in presenting the 2000 Davidson Fellows Award. Okay?
Thank you, Bob. The Davidson Fellows Award was established to recognize extraordinary achievements of young people and to encourage them to develop their intellectual talents in positive ways for themselves and for others. This evening we are going to recognize 5 Davidson Fellow Laureates and 12 Davidson Fellows. They were selected for the demonstration of extraordinary talent in one of the following categories: science, mathematics, technology, humanities, and the subcategories for humanities were literature, music, and philosophy. And then we had an out-of-the-box category because these people are very creative and they don't always have projects that fit into one of the previous categories. So that's what that category was for. The young people we are honoring this evening were selected by an independent team of judges comprised of professionals with expertise in the domain of the projects submitted. We will begin this evening by honoring this year's Davidson Fellows, each of whom is receiving a $10,000 scholarship. Jennifer Aliano is a talented scholar, athlete, and musician from Silver Spring, Maryland. She is recognized this evening for her nanotechnology work, which resulted in the development of an electrochemical biosensor that can detect changing membrane permeability of any type of molecule. Jennifer's discovery has practical applications in medicine, national security, and the life sciences. We are pleased to recognize Davidson Fellow Jennifer Aliano. Jennifer?
Christopher Falzone is a concert pianist, chamber musician, composer, and conductor from nearby Richmond, Virginia. Before he was 10, Christopher had already performed right here at the Library of Congress. He has since gone on to perform at Carnegie Hall, the Lincoln Center, the Kennedy Center, and the Hollywood Bowl. I think he's got in sync beat in that regard. Last week, he made his solo and orchestral debut in Tokyo, Japan. Christopher is blessed with an extraordinary sense of artistry, style, and expressiveness. We are pleased to recognize Davidson Fellow Christopher Falzone.
In his advanced mathematics project, Shil Ganatra proved a conjecture in combinatorial geometry that has been unresolved for the past 10 years. The results of Shil's research have broad implications for the study of illumination and the abstract shape of space. When he isn't involved in his advanced mathematics project, Shil is a hospital volunteer, an Eagle Scout, and a keen ultimate Frisbee competitor in his hometown of Richmond, Virginia. We are pleased to recognize Davidson Fellow Shil Ganatra.
It takes a true artist to transform the mundane into the extraordinary. It is the artist who points to our forgotten wings and encourages us to fly. Jennifer Hall is one such literary artist. A native of one of my favorite towns, Charleston, South Carolina, Jennifer began studying creative writing at the age of 11 and transferred to the South Carolina Governor's School for the Arts and Humanities, where she continues to pursue her interest in writing and literature. We are pleased to recognize published author and Davidson Fellow, Jennifer Hall.
Malcolm Hudson of Mandeville, Louisiana, applied Darwin's theory of evolution in a most extraordinary way. By testing computer algorithms against one another and evolving new child algorithms from successful parents' algorithms, Malcolm created a computer program that can engineer databases with improved speed and accuracy. What Darwin described in nature, Malcolm has applied to computer programming. We are pleased to recognize Davidson Fellow Louis Malcolm Hudson III.
At an age when many children are merely learning to read, Allie Morris had already written her first book. The book was a nonfiction composition on whales that revealed not only Allie's advanced intellect and capacities, but her passion and dedication and appreciation of the animal and natural world. For her Davidson Fellows Project, Allie, who is from Ventura, California, penned an impressive portfolio of her writing, including a fantasy fiction novel set in a mythological world entitled The Archway of the Silver Flame. Allie's a writer, musician, environmentalist, and no doubt a future scientist, and we are pleased to recognize her as our youngest Davidson Fellow this year.
I wonder if next year I'll be taller than Ellie every time. She keeps growing every time I see her. Some paint landscapes with oils on canvas, some with watercolors, and others use the written word. Ashvin Mysore's landscapes flow from his computer keyboard. Ashvin has created a new, innovative method for generating random yet realistic terrains, beautiful and vivid with detail, and this that have a broad application in meteorology, geology, space science, and military training. Ashvin is from Louisville, Colorado, and is currently enrolled at the University of California at Berkeley as a freshman, where he is majoring in mathematics, computer science, and philosophy. We are pleased to welcome and recognize Davidson Fellow Ashvin Mysore.
Our next fellow, Alexander Powell, is a National Merit Scholar, Advanced Placement Scholar, State of Iowa Scholar from Cedar Falls, Iowa. Sorry, Senator Grassley isn't here. This is the second year in a row we've had an Iowa fellow. He's a talented cross-country runner, a gifted cellist, and can read and write both Mandarin and French, so he'd make a good cook, I guess. But what I haven't mentioned is that Alexander's true passion is mathematics. Alexander's study of chromatic polynomials and their properties of chromatic growth is a noteworthy achievement for such a young man. We are very pleased to recognize Davidson Fellow Alexander Powell.
Fourteen-year-old Britta Redwood from Grapevine, Texas, offers to the world a voice of healing, beauty, and hope. Her work of essays and poems entitled The Singing Earth confronts a modern, often fragmented world and seeks out the truth that resides within the human spirit. Bretta's love of reading classical works and her books on ancient and modern philosophy lend to the depth of perception she reveals in her writing. We are pleased to recognize Davidson Fellow Britta Redwood.
Energy with the Atomic Force Microscope, a program, by the way, that is now in use at an international research facility. Already a contributor to the scientific community, Benjamin plans to apply his interest and knowledge on a national level, helping to advise leaders on their decisions concerning the use of scientific discoveries. Benjamin is a freshman at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, where he is continuing his language and liberal arts studies while also studying physics, biotechnology, and computer science. We are pleased to recognize Davidson Fellow Benjamin Short.
Oh, one more? Oh, I'm sorry. Using an ancient herb of India and her own innovative and tireless research, Kavita Shukla has invented a safe, economical, and environmentally friendly food preservation method and has been awarded a U.S. patent for her invention. Kavita from Elliott City, Maryland, is locally known for her energy and entrepreneurship. In high school, she founded a student-run nonprofit residential water testing company called Safe H2O. And in her spare time, Kavita plays the violin and plays field hockey. She's a busy young lady, and we are pleased to recognize Davidson Fellow Kavita Shukla.
Amy Vuong from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, divides her time between playing the piano, fencing, and researching a cure for cancer. Like all our Davidson Fellows, Amy is the embodiment of the possibilities when genius, dedication, and a humane, caring spirit are combined. Amy's mother was a big inspiration behind her cancer research and, of course, is with her tonight. We are pleased to recognize Davidson Fellow Amy Vuong.
Now we are going to recognize the Davidson Fellow laureates, who will each receive $5,000 scholarships. I'm sorry. That old zero problem I have? $50,000 scholarship. Thank you, honey. You all look very frightened over there. You thought I changed my... Winnie Kai's research on gasoline direct injection technology has captured the interest of scientists worldwide. Her discovery of how to accurately determine the structure of gasoline sprays have global implications for fuel conservation and emission controls. In her own neighborhood of Naperville, Illinois, she founded an international nonprofit organization called Children of the World and initiated in that organization a K-8 tutoring service. So globally and locally, Winnie is making a positive difference. We are pleased to recognize Davidson Fellow Laureate Winnie Kai.
So along with the 50,000, I'm also allowed to give a 1-minute speech, or they trust me to. Well, on my way down here yesterday for the trip, I actually did a phone interview with a reporter from the Chicago Sun-Times. And he asked me many questions of what it meant to be so-called gifted or talented. And I think everybody in this room has their own idea of what that term means. But to me personally, besides my own curiosity and motivation, I think it says a lot about the people who have helped me get here. So first, I'd like to thank my mentors, Dr. Jin Wong and Dr. Dean Hassner, who are right there, who flew in from Argonne National Laboratory today outside of Chicago for their thoughtful teachings and wonderful support. And most certainly Mr. Davidson and also all of the staff of the Davidson Institute for their vision and also their generosity. And to my parents, well, here's a side note. Everybody always asks, so you're a 17-year-old in college, did you skip a grade? I didn't skip a grade. I actually went through 9 nannies in 18 months, and my parents got fed up and sent me to preschool. So, but to my parents, thank you for, thank you for your love and your guidance throughout my 18 years and putting up with my insanity. And I can't say enough for how much that has helped me along. Thank you very much.
Sebastian Chang began playing the piano at the age of 4. By the age of 5, he was composing, and at the age of 9, performing his own composition with world-renowned symphony orchestras. By the time he was a teenager, he was lobbying his national representatives to increase funding for the arts. His compositions have been broadcast on Japanese national television and America's national public radio. His work has a deep rhythmic drive and a profound sense of drama, glimpses into the passion of a soul far older than his 14 years. Sebastian also performed here at the Library of Congress last evening. We are pleased to recognize Davidson Fellow Laureate Sebastian Chang.
pretty neat. It's a great honor to be a Davidson laureate. This means a lot to me. To me, music has always been a universal language, one that transcends barriers of culture, language, geography, and even enmity. Music has the profound ability to affect and change people, and in changing people, change society, and change the world. I look forward to bringing this great art forward and into the future. I have a few people I'd like to thank. First, I'd like to thank Davidson Institute for this wonderful scholarship. This will most definitely help me in any musical endeavors I wish to take. I would also like to thank my family, my parents and my sister, Casey Key and Avery Chang. There's no doubt in my mind that without them, I would not be standing here today. It's true, you know. And finally, I'd like to thank my teachers for their wonderful mentoring and infinite wisdom. Again, I'd like to thank the Davidson Institute for this wonderful, innovative concept of scholarship. Their scholarship is truly a gift to the talented youth of the world. Thank you.
What was the next challenge a 12-year-old who scores a perfect 800 on the math SAT? Why? Cure the internet of its data compression blues, of course. Alan Chu from Saratoga, California, has invented a lossless data compression algorithm that will be music to the ears of all internet users who always want quicker access to the world of information. Alan's research was published and presented at the 2002 IEEE Data Compression Conference. He also has a patent pending on his efficient data encoding and decoding process. Alan may have a quiet and gentle nature, but he has really entered the world of internet technology with a big bang. We are pleased to recognize Davidson Fellow Laureate, Alan Chu.
Okay, 1 minute. Okay, first of all, it's a really big honor for me to be here today. There are so many people I'd like to thank, but I guess I only have 1 minute to do it. Some British economist once said, education, the inculcation of the incomprehensible by the incompetent to the indifferent. This certainly hasn't been the case for me. I'd like to thank all the wonderful teachers that I've had in the past and that I currently have. I'd like to thank my wonderful parents for encouraging me and supporting me throughout my research. Thank you, Mom. And my dad, who's back at home. I'd like to thank my mentor, Professor James Normile, for providing guidance for me during my project. I'd like to thank Professor Riskin for giving me advice on my project. And I'd like to thank my teacher, Mr. Garsha, for giving me valuable feedback on my presentation and my project in general. Most importantly, I'd like to thank Jan and Bob Davidson for creating this wonderful program and sponsoring it. And I think it's really wonderful how they promote education of talented youth in such a way. Thank you so much. You two are my role models.
Jason Chu, another Chew, from Hockinson, Delaware, is offering hope to individuals who are or who have loved ones afflicted with cancer. His work with fibroblast growth factor antibodies could revolutionize cancer treatment and extend the life of patients by months, if not years. Jason is a caring, dedicated, and brilliant researcher who already is on his way to becoming a pillar in the field of medical research. We are very pleased to recognize Davidson Fellow Laureate Jason Chew.
Wow. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank all the other Davidson Fellows and Laureates because, over these last 2 days, talking to you guys has really refreshed in me the love of learning. Because, I see all of you. I see Sebastian, who's playing music in front of hundreds of people. And, I see all these brilliant scholars at Harvard and MIT and Stanford, and it just makes me want to learn more. Not for the sake of passing tests or the sake of getting high grades, but for the sake of just knowing and just having the satisfaction of increasing my knowledge. Also, I'd like to thank my parents and my principal, Mr. Russo, and all my teachers at school. And not only that, I'd like to thank all of you here who are the parents or who have taught or motivated these other Davidson Fellows. Because you know what? In an age where schools are dumbing down curriculum, public schools are saying, hold up, don't move too fast, wait up for the rest of the class. It's you guys who have been motivating us, who have been saying, go ahead, it's okay to want to learn more. It's okay to want to push ahead and want to find out what comes next. And I'd like to thank the Davidsons for founding the Davidson Institute for Talent Development, because it's programs like this that allow us students who wish to learn more, who wish to excel, to take these opportunities and to run with them. And just by motivating us like this, by providing us opportunities, you're saying it's okay to excel. It's okay to move faster. And looking at my fellow fellows, I really have hope for the future now, because I know you're the people, you're going to be my colleagues in the workplace and in the international community. And I really look forward to working with all of you in any aspect. So thanks to all of you guys, all of you who've motivated them, and just everybody for playing a role in this.
Marcin Lejeune of Brooklyn, New York, completed AP Calculus in the 6th grade. By 8th grade, he was taking graduate level math and applied mathematics at NYU. For the project, he submitted to the Davidson Fellows, for Davidson Fellows consideration. Marcin has creatively employed applied mathematics to measure important aspects of the human genome. Now at 16, he is continuing his research of the human genome at Stanford University. He's a wonderful, warm, delightful human being, and we are pleased to recognize Davidson Fellow Laureate Marcin Lejeune.
get a 1-minute speech here. After all the times I explain my project to people, the first time actually saying to me that to many people that's not about my project. Well, like to say first, I always consider education to be an important issue, which I always thought should be changed in some ways in the U.S. because it isn't helping the talented students, especially at a younger age. And so, first of all, I'd like to thank the Davidson Institute, who made all of this possible, and for the continuing help in trying to help gifted young students achieve their goals and find ways to increase their knowledge and help humanity. I'd like to also thank my mentor, Professor Bud Mishra of New York University, as well as Professor Wozniakowski of Columbia University for their help and contributions, as well as my teachers at my high school, specifically Mr. Danny J. and Mr. Winokur for their help. And of course, I'd like to thank my parents, especially my father who introduced me to mathematics. And once again, I'd like to thank the Davidsons for starting this whole institute and for making all of this possible. Thank you.
I would like to recognize and thank all of the teachers and mentors who are here who helped these children, these students achieve. When we spoke about what it took for them to get where they are, teachers and mentors were always mentioned. And of course, parents and families came out number one in supporting the success of this group. So to all the parents and families here, thank you very much for creating and nurturing such talented human beings. And thanks to all of you. Thanks to all of you for coming here to recognize these very outstanding young people. And there's some big thank yous I'd like to extend to all those who made the evening possible. The team at Precision Meeting and Events who organized everything and handed out the awards. Senator Rice James Rice in Senator Grassley's office. John Fossum in Senator Reed's office. And then they are truly committed to this mission. They're just a wonderful, inspiring group to work with. In particular, I'd like to recognize Julie Dudley, who was project coordinator from beginning to end for this incredible award. And to our fearless leader, Marie, and fearless she is, because she's ready to take all kinds of adventures we brainstorm. Marie Capurro, our Institute's Director of Programs and Services. Thank you, Marie. Bob?
Thank you. Our institute is built on the belief that individuals who have extraordinary intelligence and talent, when encouraged and supported, as you've seen here tonight, can improve the quality of life for everyone. This is why we will continue to seek out and celebrate the success stories like these of the Davidson Fellows. They have so much to offer when the nation has so much at stake. Thanks for everyone again for attending and sharing this evening with us and helping us celebrate the success of the 2002 Davidson Fellows. Good evening.